Hey guys, check this out. This is an absolutely hilarious game. So I just finished a quick game on chess.com and up pops a challenge, unrated challenge from Red Sofa 107, who apparently only started playing chess at the end of last year, is already over 1350. So great job there. So now the game. They have the white pieces and start with e4, and I decide to play e5, and I walk straight into our old favourite, the Vienna Game. So obviously I'm not inclined to play knight to f6 and walk into the Vienna Gambit, so I decide to play the copycat and of knight to c6, which is the thing that I probably least like to see when I'm playing the Vienna. Outflies the bishop and outflies my bishop here. I put my bishop on b4, maybe threatening to take this knight, but not really. And here comes the queen. Queen now to g4. So this queen, if she come to f3 or h5, she'd be looking at this mating possibility here. But this is an interesting approach because she's come out to g4, so she's not looking at the mating square on f7, she's looking at g7 and the threat of winning the rook as well. So I have a little think over a minute and I decide to play my queen out to f6. Now I ought to know better than this. Really, honestly, I think g6 would have been fine here. Okay, but I ought to know better because what's going to happen? Knight d5. This knight loves nothing better than jumping to d5, hitting the queen, whether she's on there or there, and hitting c7. And I'm like, oh no. This is why I love the Vienna Game when I'm white. Okay, so I propose a trade of queens and he accepts the trade of queens. And now, knight to c7. Okay? You get ready for this, right? This is knight, fork, king and rook number 1. So I have to move my king. He grabs my rook. Now, at least my king is guarding this square and I have a pawn here guarding this square, right? So we're okay. I should be able to recapture the knight as things stand. But right now I'm a pawn and a rook down and I'm thinking, oh no, this dude has got me over a barrel. So anyway, proceed. Develop with threats. Attack the pawn. f3 defends the pawn. Now my knight comes in and what am I threatening? A king-rook fork. Who doesn't like a king-rook fork? So bishop now defends, and now knight h5. So I'm threatening to come in here and attack the bishop. And if the bishop moves, I've got that pawn. If the bishop doesn't move, I might take the bishop, pawn captures, I've got the pawn, well, I've got the square anyway. I've got knight c2. And now, a pawn fork. Just didn't consider that at all. Right, now with that threat, I should really have moved one of these pieces away. I'm thinking, this guy is taking me to bits. So anyway, in response, come up with a counterattack. Knight f4. Saying, okay, you can take one of mine, but I'm going to take one of yours. Now, what happens? He takes the bishop, I take the bishop. King moves across, avoiding knight c2. But knight f2, the other knight comes in and forks the king and the rook. King has to move, I take the rook. Okay, now I'm only a pawn down, believe it or not. Now knight comes out to e2. Now this was rushed, right? The guy played that move in less than 1 second. Okay, it's just one of those snap moves that you play. Knight to c2, forking the king and the rook. Okay, I've never seen this in my life. So we've had 3 rooks have fallen to the exact same tactic. And now we've got a situation where we've got 3 knights in the corners of the board. I mean, knights hate being in the corner. Knight comes out here, I simply trade knights. I'm actually up, what am I up? A minor piece. No, we've each got 3 minor. I'm basically up a whole rook. Apart from a pawn. Okay, so we just trade. Now here I could have dropped my rook to h1. The king would have had to move. Can't move to there. I could have actually won the bishop there. because the knight's covering that square. That's what I should have played. But instead I played b6, knight takes, pawn takes, and I'm up more material. And now here, the king gets to go to there. Right, that's the difference. Because after this pawn moves, the king has a square where it's still defending the bishop, you see. And now the king goes to there. I advanced the rook, idea of just take on g2, take on g2. And it's relatively straightforward from this point. Kick the bishop away. I've got huge material advantage. Nice outpost square there for the knight. Trade off some pawns. And now here, that was just a blunder. Again, 2.4 seconds. Failed to spot that the pawn was defended. But then the knight falls and the king ends up over in that corner. I'm just gobbling up pawns here. I'm in a nice position. My rook's defended by a pawn. This pawn's defended by my bishop. So everything's completely safe. And the king cannot get out of this box here. Not really. Okay, so grab another pawn. And it's now just a simple king and rook mate. But here I do it a bit quicker because I've got the use of this pawn as well. So we've actually got all of these covered. And that's a nice little checkmate. But what fun. I've never seen that in a game before in my life. 3 king-rook forks by knights. Just a hoot. But seriously, I mean, you know, my opponent really did have me over a barrel at this point. We'll check the report quickly. But I was extremely lucky to get out of that. I'm just glad it was unrated. But, you know, it tells you, I mean, I know the Vienna. I played the Vienna. And still this guy completely dismantles me. Yeah, he's got 3 blunders and I've got a missed win. What's my missed win? Knight c2. What? Here, that was checkmate. Oh yeah, that would have been beautiful. Good, wow. That is something I need to work on. I know I need to work on it, just spotting these checkmates because, yeah, I mean, it's obvious once you see it. It's like a puzzle, isn't it? You know, white plays there, black to play and win. Did it. But instead, yeah, I played completely the wrong move. But that's okay. It stops me having to answer the same comment multiple times. And people say, duh, you missed mate in one, you wooden top. You know? But yeah, good stuff. So the report says white, winning. And then completely screws it up. So it says this was a mistake by me. Okay, wanted me to put the knight into here, but I knew what I was doing. You know, I was coming after this bishop. That was my plan, so you can ignore that. Blunder. Yep. Drops the bishop. Yeah. And it all just falls apart very quickly. And that's what you get. You know, don't rush any moves. Any moves. You are hemorrhaging rating points when you rush your moves. Right? Just don't play any move in less than 5 seconds. You will do better. You will win more games. Simple as. This guy absolutely had me banged up in this game, and quite simply threw it away. I didn't earn the win whatsoever. It was handed to me. So there you go. But you know, still getting from 500 to mid 1300s in a few months is an awesome feat, and hope this guy's got a great future. So well done. Thanks for the game. Thank you for watching. I'll see you later.